From time to time, a client will bring in an existing freestyle to see if we can improve it. The first thing we do is to put it in the editor and take a listen to it, because typically freestyle tracks are built from existing libraries and have been used over and over again. If during these edits attention is not paid to the sonic quality, the process of making it into like an MP3 or a CD can eventually make the track sound flatter and duller. In this instance, the client brought us a freestyle based around the music of the group ABBA. The music worked fine for this particular horse and rider, but the first thing we noticed, sure enough, is that when we put it in the editor and played it back, it was dull sounding. Okay, so you can hear the music, it sounds recognizable, the melody's recognizable, but it just didn't have the clarity or the sizzle that we'd like to see out of a track. So the first thing we did was to add some EQ to it, which in this particular case allows us to boost kind of the sound, the frequency about where the snare is, and boost some of the high end. Then the next thing we did was to bring in subharmonic processor, which kind of does the same thing for the low end. So now we have a stronger kick drum and a stronger snare, as well as more clarity. Because after all, in this kind of a song, you're really riding to the beat, and the beat is exemplified in the kick drum and the snare. So let's listen to the original again. And now ours. So right now, as we get ready to go in and possibly do some work on the edits and transitions, we're at least starting with a track that has been brought back to life. Okay, so now that we got our tracks sounding better, let's take a listen first to the what was the intro from the original. Yeah. To me, that kind of sounds like the music they play while people are trying to figure out the final Jeopardy answer. It had no excitement. It just kind of existed for the horse and rider to get in before the salute. What we did was to build off other pieces of the song, and here's what we did. Okay, and how we did it was pretty straight ahead. And I'll zoom in a little bit more for you. What we did here is we took one little piece of a different ABBA song and another piece. We overlapped them. So here's how those two pieces sound. The first melody. All right. Now let's listen to the second melody. This is where the beat starts. But now we got to add some things to it to help it sound more seamless and to have a bigger punch at the end. So we added here a cymbal roll, and then at the end we added an orchestra crash. And here's what it all sounds like together. Okay, so now that we got a good intro and we have a much better sounding basic track, we went through and all the transitions were fine. And it was the way the rider wanted to keep them. They were timed out well. They moved comfortably from from one to the other. That's great. But we got down here, a curious thing happened when we got down near the end. And, you know, you're wanting this whole thing to build and get bigger. And it ended up being edited to go back to the Jeopardy music. So it kind of moves along. Not a lot of excitement. And then when you get down to the closing of it, the very end. I mean, that's the end. You got to have a big ending, at least one that comes to a definite stop. So at the same time you're saluting, you have a big punch at the end. We didn't even go back to the Jeopardy music. What we did was we took the music that was before, this music. Okay, and then what we did was we added a modulation, and that lifts the same song up. So it comes up a half a step, and we added a bunch of stuff I'll show you in a moment as to be able to make that work. So here we go. Here's what it sounds like. So you can feel that whole lift comes up, gets the melody back in, the tempo's going good. What we did here, we cut the file, and I ended up, we just took the second part of it, and we brought it up a half step in the software. Very easy, and the software we have does a great job. And so there's the file up a half step. Here's the first before the modulation. So the modulation sounds good unto itself. And then we added a bell tree, which kind of gives it a nice sparkle. We added, again, the cymbal roll. And we added, here we added a harp. And we added the timpanis again. So this is what the end result was here. And that gave us a better lift. And then finally at the end, instead of having that end that just meandered around, we created kind of a big end. And in doing so, we brought cymbal rolls, and we brought harps, and we brought timpani and piano to play the chords. And what we did here, in order to change the ending, we had to basically match the same instrumentation. So we really were kind of locked in as to what we did here. And so now this has more of a punch ending. Let's go ahead and listen to this. So there you go. Now we got a big ending on it, so it comes to a really nice bang at the end, and it just is a lot better for the crowd, and it looks very good when it's timed with the horse.